Thank you very much, everyone. And before I begin, I want to thank LIUNA, a great union that has been fighting for, training, and representing workers in this area for decades. Steve, Luigi. We also have Steve and Luigi hosted us here. I really appreciate them. I also want to acknowledge Barbara Ball. She's our common sense conservative candidate in Nepean. Nepean, a great place to be in. And we have the best candidate. She started off in the artillery. In what year? 1992. And then she went on to the police force. So I'm saying boots, not suits. It's not just the trades, but it's also the police and the troops that wear the boots. And she knows how to pick up 100-pound artillery shells. So she's strong enough to be a representative, probably stronger than anyone else in the House of Commons. And we can't wait till she gets elected to fight for the people in this community. And I'm also really excited to be here I want to say hello to Rochelle's grandmother. Rochelle, your grandmother is watching on Facebook, you told me. So Rochelle's grandmother is out there, and I know she's very proud of you. So, and with good reason. So we're here at 527. This is a very special local. I learned about LIUNA. I used to go to my buddy's parents' place for Sunday dinner, and they have a grotto, an Italian family. They have their beautiful vegetables they grow in their backyard, and on the Sunday, the grandkids, the cousins, the uncles, the aunts, they all come over. And the parents, they came here in '73, never actually learned how to speak English, but Albino was the father, and he would sit at the head of the table, obviously, and he would talk to me through his son in Italian. And I saw this plaque on the wall. It said LIUNA. I said, "What's that?" And the one English word he knew, pension. He pointed up, he said, "That's my pension." And it was a great story. It's the story of Canada, really. He came here in 1973. And him and his wife, obviously they scrimped and saved. They grew their food in the backyard. They never went out. They have a little cellar in the basement where all their pickled vegetables were kept. They managed to pay off their entire mortgage in 7 years. And it's right by the Civic Hospital, 10 minutes from Parliament Hill, the downtown of a G7 capital. And an Italian family that comes here with a suitcase and a dream, the husband works paving roads, the wife makes sandwiches at a senior's home. They pay off the mortgage in 7 years. It's really incredible. And then, years later, their son Tony was able to buy his house when he was about 29 years old in a nice Ottawa suburb. But now the grandkids, who are now third generation, obviously speak perfect English. They'll soon have a university education. The younger daughter actually works 3 jobs, and she doesn't see any path to owning a home, which just shows how the Canadian promise has been broken after 10 years of the Trudeau-Carney Liberals. We need to bring back that promise for these great workers who are behind me, and for all the workers across the country, the steel worker who transforms raw ore into rebar, the electrician who wires up our cities, the sawmill worker who turns towering lumber into 2x4s, everyday workers that carry their families, their communities, and their country on their backs. After 10 years of Trudeau-Carney Liberals, these trades workers who build our homes cannot afford to buy them. Liberal taxes and inflationary deficits have driven up the cost of everything, shrinking the purchasing power of the workers who build our country. This is the lost Liberal decade. It has resulted in the worst decline in our country's economy in 40 years. It has made us helplessly dependent on the Americans by blocking resource projects and sending billions of dollars of discounted resources for the Americans to profit off our backs. Now, the Liberals claim that if you elect them for a 4th term, that they will be different than the first 3 terms. Well, we know that that's not true. The only way to get a change is by putting Canada first, by electing a new Conservative government that will axe taxes, build homes, unleash resources, and bring home our jobs and economic sovereignty from the Americans. That's why I'm announcing today part of my Bring It Home economic plan. It's called Boots, Not Suits. This plan will bring home a country that works for the people who do the work. And here's the plan. First, we will reinstate the $4,000 apprenticeship grant to help our young apprentices with the cost of training up. This is a grant the previous Conservative government brought in, and the current Liberal government had planned to phase out at the end of this month. Well, I'm here to announce that my government will reinstate it to give direct financial support to young apprentices. I'm going to be bringing it back and putting the money in their pockets. Second, Conservatives will provide funds to union training halls like this one for machines, bricks, mortar, walls, floors, all of the above, with the goal of training 350,000 apprentices and other trades workers over the next 5 years. We'll make sure that actual buildings and centres are eligible, that they get this UTIP funding. The smaller unions and locals will also be eligible, and they will be eligible for up to 75% of the cost of building and running these programs. Third, we'll create a special rapid class of EI that makes it easier for tradespeople to get the money that they are owed from EI while they do their training. Right now, they have to wait weeks on end without any money coming in as they're training up, and that puts them in a tough spot paying the rent. My government will ensure tradespeople are not punished for training, and we'll do this by allowing the union training halls to register the apprentices for EI. So it'll allow you guys to register them, get them started, and that way when they join the program, their EI is ready to go. They got money in their pocket and food in their fridge. Fourth, we'll work with the provinces to harmonize the health and safety regulations so our trade workers can go anywhere. Right now, believe it or not, a trades worker who goes across the country has to redo the 4-day health and safety program. So they might have done the entire program already in another province, but they're going from Timmins to Fort Mac. They arrive, their first 4 days is without pay because they're not allowed to work, and they do a course that they've already taken in another province. I'm going to bring the provinces and their labour ministers together to harmonize and get mutual recognition. So if you've got the health and safety ticket in one province, you're recognized to work in all the provinces. This is common sense, and we're going to pay for all this by cutting bureaucracy, consultants, foreign aid, and waste. Like I said, more boots, less suits. After 10 years of the Trudeau-Carney Liberals, Canada's economy is weaker and more reliant than ever. Especially, and we've lost $500 billion because of the high taxes here. Mr. Carney supported carbon taxes on Canada while he invested in American coal. He opposed the Northern Gateway pipeline in Canada while he bought pipelines abroad. Yesterday, his newly appointed Environment Minister reaffirmed that the Carney Liberal government will impose an energy production cap, which the Parliamentary Budget Officer just confirmed will cost 50,000 jobs. This proves that Carney is still faithful to his radical, keep it in the ground, net zero insanity. Nothing will change. In fact, it will get worse. And that will be good for rich global elites like him and the multinational corporations that profit off of Canada's weakness. We know that Mr. Carney's company abuses workers. They bust unions. They invested in companies that busted unions. He also, in a very tragic case, one of the insurance arm of Carney's company, Brookfield, profited by denying the insurance claims of coal miners dying from black lung. These are workers who, by breathing in dust in the ground, became extremely sick. And when they went to get the insurance that they had paid for, they were denied by Carney's, the company that does the insurance for Brookfield. They profited off that. In fact, this company lost in court. The court found that the company was wrong. Now, Mr. Carney needs to tell us, is he still invested in a company that abuses workers' rights and denies coal miners and their widows the benefits that they deserve? Mark Carney will never stand up for the working people. He will only stand up for the millionaire and billionaire global elites. That is all that he has ever done.
I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
He's only done two things in Canada since he came back from Europe. One, move his headquarters out of Canada to New York, taking jobs from our country to the United States, just like Trump wanted. And two, acting as Trudeau's economic advisor, supporting all of his policies, no matter what he tries to tell you now. But just wait, you'll see, he'll be copying my next announcement. It will be, what, about 3 or 4 days, he'll be ripping off the announcement that I made today as he pretends to support the things that I stand for 30 days before an election.
You're right again. You're right.
The choice in the next election is very clear. One is to bring jobs home. The other is to ship jobs abroad. One is to bring real change. The other is to cling on to power for a fourth consecutive term. One is to cut taxes, and the other is to raise them. One puts Canada first, the other puts Carney first. And the question in the next election will be further, can Canada afford a fourth term of the Liberals, led by Mark Carney, who, working with Trudeau, made Canada weaker and poorer, and is too weak and conflicted to stand up to Donald Trump? Or do we think it's time for a real change with a Conservative government that will stand up to Trump from a position of strength, unleash growth, bring home jobs, axe taxes, build homes, secure our border, rebuild our military, and put Canada first? We need a change. We need to take back control of our economy. We need to stand by the people who build stuff, dig stuff, move stuff, make stuff. That's why common sense Conservatives will always stand with our employers and our unions right across this country to unleash the great Canadian promise that Albino Greco experienced when he arrived here back in 1973. The promise that was made and kept to my wife Anna and I, and the promise that we will restore for all Canadians. In a country where anyone from anywhere can achieve anything, where hard work gets you a great life in a beautiful home, on a safe street, protected by brave troops under a proud flag. Canada first. Let's bring it home.
You son of a bitch.